Here in this video, I'm going to be telling you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about Eric Willaims, the new director at Sony Santa Monica and God of War Ragnarok. So back in September of 2021, God of War Ragnarok released its trailer at the PlayStation Showcase. And okay, I loved it being a huge God of War fan, if you couldn't tell. The graphics, the new characters, and being at the end of the Norse saga of God of War. But what really caught people's attention was actually at the end of the showcase after the God of War Ragnarok trailer, and made the people the world over worried about God of War Ragnarok, especially f***ing Twitter. At the end of the showcase, we actually got to see an interview, but it wasn't the person we expected to be interviewed. Being interviewed was God of War legend Cory Barlog, the director of God of War 2 and the smash PlayStation hit God of War 2018. Alongside Cory was another man by the name of Eric Willaims. Okay, if you're anything like me, you're like, who the hell is this dude and why is he being interviewed with Cory Barlog? Okay, I assumed he worked for Sony Santa Monica, but I didn't know how deep it got. So it turns out that Eric Willaims is the new director of God of War Ragnarok. I was shocked, to say the least, but if you really want to know my opinion about Eric Willaims being the new director of God of War Ragnarok, stay till the end because I will tell you all about what I think. So who is Eric Willaims and how did he get this dream job all of us God of War fans would pretty much jump in front of a bus to get? I'd at least think about it. So Eric Willaims began his video game career as an artist back in 1996 for a company called Simutronics Corporation. So it seemed Eric stayed there for a little bit, and in 2001, he transferred companies. Eric transferred to a company called Paradox Development, where he worked on a couple of pretty cool projects. In 2002, he was actually the lead designer for a game called X-Men: The Next Dimension, and worked even longer as a designer for a game called Backyard Wrestling: Don't Try This at Home. So at this point in Eric's career, I think he was trying to find a different company to work for because he actually reaches out to Cory Barlog himself. There's actually an interview with Cory Barlog saying that he actually got an email from Eric Willaims titled, "Obi-Wan, you're my only hope." Fantastic. So from here, it seems like Cory Barlog actually brought Eric Willaims over from Paradox over to Sony Santa Monica back around 2004. And guess what Eric Willaims has been doing ever since then? That's right, designing God of War. Literally, listen to this list of what Eric Willaims did for the God of War series. It's a long list. I'm going to list it off right here. So God of War 1, Combat Systems Designer. God of War 2, Combat Systems Designer again. Chains of Olympus, Design Consultant. God of War 3, Additional Design Support. Ghosts of Sparta, Design Consultant. God of War Ascension, Combat Designer. And God of War 2018, Additional Design. The guy has done it all. Also in the midst of this, back in 2010, he actually worked on a game called Darksiders, where he was also a design consultant, and also worked on Darksiders War Mastered Edition in 2016. So the guy has a ton of experience when it comes to video games, combat, and how they are designed. But even knowing all this, there have been a ton of controversy having Eric Willaims take over for Cory Barlog. Whether it's over YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be, there is a ton of hate for this guy just because he's stepping in some really big shoes, and they are really big shoes to fill. But having a new director for a new game for the God of War series is not a new thing. What most people do not know is Cory Barlog is the only repeat director in the entire series, being from God of War 2 and God of War 2018. This is actually a very natural thing that Sony Santa Monica does, but each new game take a fresh approach to each of their games. I mean, literally right here, I'm going to list them off right here. God of War 1, directed by David Jaffe. Thank you, David, for everything you have done. God of War Chains of Olympus was Rue. Dude, I am not even going to try to destroy your name. It's right here. God of War 3 with Stig Asmussen, right here again. God of War Ghosts of Sparta, which was by Dana Jane. And God of War Ascension by Todd Pappy. So literally, guys, cut the bullshit. This is not a new thing. They have been doing this since the beginning of the series, so I don't know what you're all worked up about. And even in an interview with Cory, that even after such a just like God of War 2018, the director's exhausted. They need a break. But don't get me wrong, I am a huge Cory Barlog fan. Absolutely, I love what he did for God of War 2018 and God of War 2. But the guy's tired, wants to work on something else. Let him work on something else. So when people move into the jobs that another person has occupied, i.e. Eric Willaims taking over for Cory Barlog, they actually sit down together and they go over everything that the other person needs to know to make their job very successful. Well, Cory had a better idea. So when Cory and Eric did eventually sit down to talk about everything he had to know about directing God of War Ragnarok, Cory actually gave Eric a pad of paper that actually said Game Directing 101 right on top of it. Okay, so far so good. Everything you have to know about being a game director. Pretty cool they've made a whole list. Well, he didn't. There was only one thing that was written on that piece of paper, and in little tiny ass words said everything, and handed it to Eric. It's just Cory being Cory, just being a complete troll. I love that guy. But more on a serious side, Cory actually told Eric that he had to be a problem solver. Whether it is working with some broken code, some design mistakes, whatever it might be. Literally stepping into every department of the company and taking it all in, working with everybody. I mean, that is a huge task with very little room for error. But what better of a person to give this role than someone that has been there from the beginning, all the way back in God of War 1, back in 2004. Eric Willaims has been there literally from the beginning of the God of War series and has worked on every single game that you can think of in the God of War series that has hit shelves across the world. Eric will not let this game fail. He has everything he needs to make God of War Ragnarok just as big of a hit as God of War 2018 or even bigger. He still has that amazing team sitting over there in Sony Santa Monica and the support of the God of War community. So stop giving this guy so much shit. I mean, literally, stop your tweets, stop your Instagram about trashing this guy. This guy will not fail us. I don't think there is anyone that is more qualified for this position and keep the God of War series at a high pedestal where it rightfully deserves to be. I really appreciate all of you spending your precious time with me. It really does mean a lot. And if you did like this, please leave a like, think about subscribing, and please share this video out so others may enjoy as well. My name is Shane Static. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.